things change, the more they stay the same. This street kind of looks like the way it used to be when I was walking around here. Anyways, welcome to another actual winery edition of the Winery Yuki Cheese Cafe. And just in case you're wondering, yes, I'm alive and well, despite my inactivity and quiet demeanor for the last couple of days. I just thought I'd take it easy and just check out during my vacation. Those of you who've been around, you know I'm doing well because I've been in touch with you. So I decided to do another wandering vlog today at another part of Montreal. It's all going to be part of a bigger plan. Right now I'm walking along Mont-Royal Avenue. Very trendy part of the neighborhood, I suppose. Cute little terraces from what I could see, but my main reference point when I was walking around here was, well, years ago, this is the route we would take if we were going to be going up Mont-Royal, which is hard to see in the distance, but it's definitely there. But I'm going the opposite direction now, because my main memory of all this was checking out a couple of record stores around here. Like in the 2000s, when I kind of got into vinyl collecting, I was walking around here and we discovered that there was actually a couple of really cool spots that actually sold secondhand stuff. Of course, this is before the boom where suddenly everybody was buying vinyl under the sun, and you see a whole bunch of new pressings coming out. Hard to believe. A format from like 1940s, 1950s, etc., what have you, made a big comeback in the year 2000s. So, you never know. If something goes out of style, it's always going to come back in style down the road. You just need to give it a few decades. So yeah, I'm doing this as a little bit of a walk around here to get to my main destination, the Old Port of Montreal. See if I can check out the neighborhood a little bit more. Maybe if it brings back old memories, it'll be great. Well, kind of nice to see that Mont-Royal hot dog is still alive and kicking around here. Stopped here a few times, and you know, it's your typical cast crew type of place, or greasy spoon as they say in English. You get your typical hot dogs, fries, club sandwiches, and whatnot. I always had some good memories of these places, because back when I was growing up as a kid, one of the things that we used to do for a little treat would just go out for a trip and then walk home with a bag of fries for supper or for a little snack. Simple but effective. And I do have a memory of stopping off at the Mont-Royal hot dog ages ago, like wintertime during one of my peak vinyl collecting phases. It was kind of cold. I want to say like somewhere in the minus 30 degrees range. Picked up some fries thinking that some hot fries are going to warm us up a little bit. Except I didn't realize that the grease would have got cold and then ended up freezing my hands more than they should have been. What can you say? You learn from experience. Cafe Rico. Strange. I feel like it's been so long since I walked down the street, because last time I was here, that was actually one of the David's Tea locations I was around before. They closed a whole bunch of them around here. So going from a tea shop to a coffee shop, one hot beverage to another. As for Cafe Rico, I don't know, is it supposed to imply rich coffee? Or maybe named after a guy named Rico? Beats me. Hey, I'm trying to squeeze in some kind of cheese here, otherwise I'm not doing my job properly. A lot of cute terraces around here now. Honestly, I'm not surprised. For the longest time, you weren't able to do indoor dining around here. So if you want to make any business, you have to sit people outside, have a drink, or have some food. Do what you got to do to stay afloat, I suppose. That's the kind of day and age that we live in. Ooh, out in the distance, we do have a spacecraft that landed here several centuries ago that somehow is well preserved. And yeah, I'm making this stuff up. I'm looking at the Olympic Stadium, one of the landmarks of Montreal, or one of our disasters, depending on how you look at it. Stands out architecturally. It's just, think of how much money was spent. That thing was built, well, for those of you who don't know, this was built for the 1976 Olympics when Montreal had hosted it. And it was probably mostly known for being one of those buildings that was never really paid off until like recently. I don't even want to know how many billions was spent into that bloody building, because let's face it, it was expensive to begin with, and not only that, the roof kept collapsing so many times that they had to repair it again and again. Not to mention, it's definitely a bit of an eyesore around here compared to other landmarks. In fact, from my neighborhood, if I go on one overpass, I could actually see the Montreal skyline and the bloody Olympic Stadium from afar. So yeah, from the South Shore, you see this thing. Feels like it infests. Oh boy. Yeah, a friperie renaissance. You know, one of those thrift stores you could get bargain deals for clothing. They're everywhere now, but my memory of this was this actually used to be a Super Club Videotron for rentals and such, and this one was actually one of those that if you're a film buff or you're into like repertoire films, they actually designed it or organized all the rentals based on directors, actors, so for those who are really into movies, that was the thing to do. And now, I should be getting close to my next spot. Old 33 Tour, or 33 tours, or technically it's supposed to be like 33 and a third RPM if you know your vinyl well. So one of the things I remember was this store was actually one of the first shops I remembered seeing when I was getting into vinyl. Looked through the window and thought, hey, there's a whole section here to look at. So I thought it was kind of neat to see some of these old pressings. Some originals too from like the 70s, which used to be dirt cheap to get before. Everyone always specialized in new pressings of vinyl. That was pretty neat to see. But that was the original location before, and then eventually they changed spots and expanded. So in this vinyl boom, they're actually doing pretty well. At least I think they are. Yeah, I'm starting to get to the end of the road here. We're probably going to hit Papineau or Delorme eventually. So my next stop, I think I'm going to do is take a little right turn, check out a little bit of a park. And it's... what the... Les Enfants du Rock. Okay, this has to be new because I've never seen this thing in my life. What the heck? Unbelievable. Okay, Aladdin Sane era David Bowie. These guys have pretty good taste. What the heck is this place? Jack lives here. Well, they sell Jack Daniels, that's a plus. Okay, judging by the look of it, it's a bar here, like a rock-based bar. They didn't have this years ago. Looks like it's not open, so I'm gonna have to maybe check it out one day, eventually. Hopefully? Yeah, you can kind of tell this is like early 20th century housing here, because a lot of the houses around here were built this way. Like very packed together, almost minimal yards. But a lot of people mention that the one distinguishing feature of a Montreal house is the stairs that are specifically on a curve, like this, and they're always on the outside instead of the inside. I'm sure there was a reason for putting that up at the time, but looking at it now and looking at the way that I work with my house, I cannot imagine that if you're moving, that if you're trying to get appliances around here, that it's simple to move that around. Trying to carry like a fridge or a stove up the, let's say, these flights of stairs, I don't even want to fathom that. That's going to be like a few sprained muscles and a backache waiting to happen. Very, very nice. One charm that you're going to find around Montreal is the architecture around here and the design. Let's face it, around my neighborhood, or nowhere for that matter, are they ever going to be building stuff like this now? Stonework, the layout, siding, it's like pretty intricate, and it's a lost art if you ask me. So I decided to keep going for my walk, and I ended up around La Fontaine Park. I don't know if this is the largest park on the Montreal Island, but it's definitely one of the largest ones. Probably rivals the size of, I think, Maisonneuve Park, is it? Or that whole park that surrounds the Olympic Stadium, but that's got a whole bunch of other buildings there. This is kind of nice. You got your playground, your sports areas, you got like a mini lake just to get a bit of a breeze. People like to just chill out over here and sometimes kick back with a six-pack among a group of friends. That's almost like paradise if you ask me. And I was even talking with my mom a while back. I think she might have said that there was like a zoo over here at one point or something. I wish I could remember that conversation. Now, for a guy like me who has a really good memory, that says something I forgot about it. I may have to ask her about it, but kind of cute and quaint. Well, I said there was a lake earlier in the video, but it looks like I haven't been here in so long that it's now completely dried up, full of stuff growing, and looks like it's under construction. Oh boy, this is not what I was expecting. Thought getting a scenic route around here by the water would have been my original intention. Somehow that's not going to work at all. I wonder what they're going to be digging up and building here. Renovating around, making the lake nice? Maybe they're going to build more condos in the middle of the park because, let's face it, construction workers, they can't resist having an empty lot and not bringing a condo in here. You never know what kind of graffiti you're gonna find around here. I'm kind of perplexed because I had some footage I originally recorded that I'm not sure is saved on my phone, so I'm gonna have to check that out. But basically, it looks like what I missed was took my detour on Rachel Street and end up in front of the terrace that was called La Banquise. Now, I'll just repeat what I was trying to say last time. If you know your poutines in Montreal, La Banquise is that restaurant that everyone says you gotta go grab one in, because they got quite a good variety of them. Not just the one kind, but like at least a good 20 or so of them. So apparently it's worth checking out. And what also helped, at least in the old days, is that it was open for 24 hours. I guess that meant that if it's 3:30 a.m., you got the munchies, you feel like you need to have a poutine, you could have gone there to get one, apparently. I'm starting to think to myself, I was never actually in that restaurant. I've never actually stopped in there. But because I have a plan today, I'm gonna hold off on that for now and save it maybe for a future video down the road. So let's keep continuing down and make our way south. I think I'm gonna hit along to Saint-Denis Street now. Verre stérilisé, which translates to sterilized glasses. I suppose it's supposed to mean it's super clean glasses, but in the days of COVID, that actually takes on a whole other meaning now. Ooh. A place called Hippie Poutine. You make up your own punchline about that. Sad to see some closed businesses around here still. I feel like the street's changed a lot since I was the last around here. Definitely in 2019 when that was. But years ago when I was walking around here, I think one of my other main stops was more record stores. I used to have Primitive Records before that closed down. Then another one that was actually pretty neat was Beatnik Records. Had a pretty good selection of stuff over there too. Good if you want like some hard rock, classic rock. Actually just like a lot of other places, so decent stuff if you wanted originals as well. I think it's still open and just a little further down close to Sherbrooke. So, Beatnik Records is still up and running again, so super satisfied. And even managed to get like one new album into the collection, something I haven't really picked up in a long time. My old days of gathering CDs is not the same as it used to be. I guess since H&B closed down and I don't work there anymore, then, you know, you don't really have the same incentive to buy that stuff. So, in case you're wondering what I bought, I decided to get an Extreme album that I've had my eye on for quite some time. It's called Porno Graffiti. Very odd name, I know, but it's definitely a good one. It's like 80s metal or 80s, 90s metal, but it was a time frame where a lot of bands are starting to add some funk into their music. So think like Red Hot Chili Peppers, think like Primus, think Suicidal Tendencies around 1990, and you get an idea of the genre. But it's also pretty good. Hard to believe too that the guitarist of this group, you know, pretty talented guy himself, but he seems to join for a lot of other artists. Like, he actually plays on, I think, Rihanna's tour, of all people, so, hey, genres have no limits for him. Good on him. So now I'm like around Saint-Denis and close to Sherbrooke, so I'm probably just gonna, I think I lost my train of thought for a second, so here's the thing. My phone's starting to lose a bit of battery. I'm gonna need to charge up a little bit, so take some time to do that and then make my way down to Old Montreal. So stick around, everyone. Okay, while I said I was going to be doing a quick intermission, I couldn't pass by here without actually talking about this place. So, right over here, you got the little Pac-Man sign. You know, nothing too inconspicuous over here. It's Arcade MTL, or as I've heard it referred to before, is the Barcade. I've been here before. This place only opens at 5 on a weekday, but on weekends they actually had to open up pretty early, and it's free cover because it's one of those bars that you have to pay a cover to be here. And the neat thing about this is that it's actually a classic arcade bar, meaning that you could actually get something as far back as an original Donkey Kong and Pac-Man the machine, even Centipede, Robotron, like all these other old school things you probably would have played on Atari too. They're here, and some okay beers on tap. Actually, There's no way I can't show this one off too, because I got a chuckle out of this thing once. Yeah, one of the things they have here is Mario Bros. You wonder what Mario would look like if he was just a tad tipsy? That's probably what it is. I've had this on tap before. It's basically like Labatt 50, but on the handle, it's essentially just replacing the Labatt 50 logo with a handle that kind of looks like Mario. They might have used a Mario amiibo on that too for, I guess, the full effect. So pretty neat. It's also the only place you get like supersonic shooters too. I don't know what that is because I'm not a shooter guy. Beer and a high quality whiskey. Okay, this is one of those things where I thought I'd be taking an intermission to let my phone charge, but once again I got more stuff I found here that I kind of have to highlight around the street just because of a few cool places I saw. Up here is a pretty neat bar that's called Ile Noire, or Black Island I suppose, and in terms of beers that they have mostly Boreal, especially one of my favorites, the New England IPA or the IPA du Nord-Est, but this thing is actually a whiskey bar. So you stop in here, they have a whole bunch of whiskeys you could try out at a pretty affordable price, and in some cases things that you can't even get at the SAQ over here or most other bars. I don't know what they do to get it, but it's definitely like a collector's, or if you're a whiskey aficionado, it's definitely worth checking out. I've had some good stuff over there, and it actually beats McKibben's in terms of the selection, but it's almost on par with Burgundy Lion. Ooh, I think I'm seeing like, yep. Yeah, this is also Bistro at Jojo, another place I've been meaning to check out but never really had a chance. It's one of those spots that you have to pay a cover to get in, but there's a fun live band that plays every night, and pretty easy to stick around here until 2 a.m. allegedly. I mean, when you're having a good time, like, why stop early? Alright, and we're back. Yeah, if you start off at the Plateau and make your way down to Old Montreal, it's really not that bad of a walk. I've done some crazier walks, so this is nothing for me. I'm making my way down to the Old Port, but doing a little stop around one of my favorite places in Old Montreal. I'm right in front of the Notre Dame Basilica over here. I guess it's supposed to be based on the one that's in France, but other history buffs can correct me on that. I love the spot around here. Nice, spacious. Lots of stone, obviously. And especially if you come here at night, it's lit up just enough, like kind of dim. It makes like an awesome vibe. Could be romantic, I guess, if you're out on a date and want to finish up with a walk. You might have some street musicians playing around here. Oddly enough, I do remember someone here with an acoustic guitar, and they're actually playing some Bee Gees on it, but the way they reinterpreted is they were playing Staying Alive as if it's a flamenco Spanish style. Not a style I never would have guessed they'd be doing. What can you do? There's sometimes a few other cool things around here. Like right around this building that's beige would be the Place Dame. One of those rooftop terraces you might find around this neck of the woods. Around the Old Montreal, this south side, they're pretty common over here. You get a good view. You get some okay brews on the tap, but it comes at a price sometimes too. But you know what? If it's once in a while, you got to take advantage of that. Of course, there's some weird things around here, like the Christmas store, which we'll get to that in a second. Yep, ho ho ho, Noël éternel, eternal Christmas. I wasn't kidding, everyone. There is actually a legitimate Christmas shop that's open all year round. It's not just open for December, but it's open even in the summertime. And here I thought it was crazy to see that here, but I remember walking in Rome in October once and saw there was an actual dedicated Christmas store. Even across the world, Christmas is eternal, allegedly. Okay, this is Saint-Vincent Street. Main point of interest over here would be Bevo Pizzeria, which I went to, kind of a way to prepare for my trip to Italy before I flew out. And the William Gray Hotel, which has another rooftop bar over there. Of all the ones I've been to around the neighborhood, that's actually my favorite one because of the view and even the brews on tap. And I believe I'm right in front of the Montreal City Hall. See, they restored a little bit, but seems to be under construction still. I suppose it's emblematic of the city. The construction never stops. But I'm just a hop and a skip away from a pretty neat spot around Old Montreal, and probably a very touristy spot too. It's going to be Plaza Jacques Cartier, not far from the port. So this is actually one of my favorite places to go to just to hang around. And here we are. Nice little plaza around here. Plenty of restaurants, ice cream shops, and plenty of entertainers. You're always going to find musicians around, lots of terraces to sit down and watch a show, and sometimes even street performers too. In terms of street performers, well, that could include someone eating fire, walking up a ladder of swords, and a bunch of other weird juggling and stuff. And of course, you're walking around in Montreal, no one's going to ask questions about it too. I do remember one time at night I was walking around here and ended up in the show inadvertently. Because sometimes they're going to call up around the crowd, see who's wants to volunteer for something, and somehow I stood out without really doing anything. And next thing I knew, I was supposed to be jumping around, headbanging, roaring like a lion. Yeah, when you hear that out of context, it does sound kind of messed up, but it was part of the routine around there. So yeah, it's perfectly normal for them. Pretty nice. Actually, a little bit of life here. Right behind me is another place I've been curious about, but never really visited, Nelson Garden. It's got a nice interior terrace, like an indoor garden. One LED tree that lights up at night. It's supposed to be pretty cozy, but it seems like it's a little over my budget for what I like to pay for a meal. So I never really had a purpose to go there. Maybe one day. Now, in terms of my first stop, because obviously I wasn't going to make it all the way here just to walk, I feel like I should get a drink somewhere. And I might know just the spot. Yep. There's one known street in this side of the town. It's St. Paul Street, second most south street in Old Montreal, right before de la Commune. There's plenty of restaurants and terraces around here. As for where I want to get my drink, well, it's over here with this dome-shaped building. That's the Bon Secours market, and over there is a little brewer that's called Brewskey's. Yep, kind of know what they're going to be selling there, but it's a microbrewer that serves a lot of stuff. You know, they make it themselves on tap, and apparently even now you can buy things in cans and bring it home. I don't think I've seen them in stores just yet. Of course, there's a terrace up at the front here, but there's also one up in the back, or back, front. Kind of getting my directions mixed up. So, heavy duty whip in the back. Yeah, I think I'm gonna avoid that area. I'm going to the front. It makes me close to the water, get more of a breeze. But that's not take away from the back, because I did like that vibe there with very rustic looking tables and whatnot. I think they serve similar stuff on tap too, so I'm not even gonna feel too picky. So I guess time to make my way there. So, somehow the only place that was available was this shaded area right by the stone. I'm under the awning right now, but I guess the benefit is, in case it does start to rain, I do have some protection. So, to start off over here, what I decided to do is take a look on the menu and think, what have I not tried yet over here? And I found something else that was called, let's see, project number 56, which is Italian steam. The style they call it is a California common. Like, I don't know what Italian steam is supposed to be, but essentially, it's like a regular blonde. So I guess if it's like an Italian lager, think like Moretti, think like Peroni, like those house beers you get in Italy, and you probably will get an idea. As for the taste, I'm gonna find that out for us. Yep, pretty good. Nice, easygoing, only 5%, not too heavy of a flavor, so it's actually a pretty nice starter here too. We'll see what happens. If I go for another pint, or if I decide to move on elsewhere. Happy days. Yep, that was super refreshing. Obviously, it's still pretty early in the day, and I thought I could probably fit in another round over here before I move on to someplace else around the neighborhood. So what I'm doing is I'm going away from the blondes, and I went for something that was more in the IPA range. Found one on the menu that's called Singularity Mosaic, and it's like an American-style IPA. I'm guessing that based on the color over here, it's supposed to be kind of like a New England IPA, because it has a very cloudy texture. It's somewhere on the strong side, so it's like 7.2%. And that's still like mid-range compared to some other stuff I saw. Like one of the things I saw on the menu is like an Imperial Stout, around 11.9%. So that's almost borderline glass of wine territory. And that's definitely like a one and done. So I'm about to give this a taste, so cheers everyone. Oh yeah. Citrusy, gives me a New England IPA kind of vibe. And just in case you're wondering too, like, what the heck, why is it so small? Well, I decided if I was going to do a strong one, I want to be able to just have a sample of it without overusing it myself. So I went for a 5 ounce. So I'm lucky that on the menu to get various ounces. You can get 5 ounce, which I have here, 10 ounce, which is a medium size, and 16 ounce, which is essentially a pint. And I did this just because it brought back some memories of Spain. Like, here's a little bit of an idea. If you're to go into Spain and then you're asking for a cerveza, then you're not going to get very far, because what I was told, and I've actually learned from experience over there, is that you have to ask for the size. You got a caña, which is like the small size around what I have over here. You got doble, which is around half a pint, and then jarra, which is around 1 full pint. So you got to make sure you know which size that you want over there. And it gave me some good memories too, because part of the fun in Spain is, especially if you go to most, well, not just tapas bars, but anywhere in general, you go sit down, you have a drink, any drink you have, they're going to give you some kind of food on the side to just enjoy and nibble on. Depending on the place, it could be a bowl of olives, pretty typical because olives are common in Spain. You might have to be given a bowl of chips, you might be given some other stuff like cheese drenched in olive oil, maybe some bread with some serrano ham topped on it. In one case I got like maybe Swedish berries of all things as a tapas. Crazy to think. But if you stay longer, like you have a drink, they'll give you a meal. Sometimes you'll be going for a second drink and then they'll give you an even better tapas. So the longer you stay, the more upgrade you're going to be. And my experience with one particular street called Cava Baja. Yeah, I'm getting kind of nostalgic here, but Cava Baja was a little street that was filled with nothing but tapas bars, each one of them with their own characters. You may have one that's like a typical Spanish style bar that might have a giant bullhead standing on the wall. You might have the microbrewer, the old style saloon. You can find something a bit more modern as well, and you would actually see that like a bit of everything there. So you go to one spot, you have a caña, like order a caña, they give you a tapas, you sit down, have your drink and see what the vibe is like, and if you like it, stick around for another drink, they'll probably give you a better tapas too, and if you don't like it, well, finish off your stuff, you pay, and then you just hop across to the next bar. And the beauty is that it was like maybe €2.50, €2 sometimes for each drink, plus the tapas that you get too. So basically, by the end of the night, after you're done having all these mini beers, you would essentially have had a full meal, plenty of beers to fill you up for the night, and depending on where your hotel was at, you could probably walk it all off at the end, so that was really fun. Man, thinking back to all these memories from when I was traveling around, good times. Not much traveling, but when you've done Spain, when you've done Italy, those are some really good trips. Yeah, that was a nice one. And I figured that doing a caña, as I like to call it, was a good way of tasting that stronger IPA without going overboard. That way it saved me a little bit of room after I'm done here. And I'm just going to apologize over here because I had a feeling that, or at least it was brought to my attention, I was doing some other random videos, that the sound was a little bit off over there, like you could barely hear me. So if I'm sitting at that bar and you can't understand, well, this is why I'm apologizing. Anyways, I'm going to be moving on to the next step here because I'm actually starting to feel a little bit hungry. Despite what you may think, beer is not a meal. It may be the breakfast of champions, but it's not a meal. I think I need some actual food, and I'm going to be taking a suggestion from a friend of mine who told me it's worth checking out. A little further up the street is Taverne Gaspar. Pretty good spot too, good brews also. What I'm going to eat, I guess I'm going to figure it out when I get there. on St. Paul Street, but that's Pub St. Paul, which I used to go to, well, not very frequently, but on occasion too. Main thing I would tell you about that place is that they have some pretty good poutines, and just for novelty's sake, you can actually get poutines named after rock stars. So I guess if you ever wanted to eat Mick Jagger, David Bowie, or eat Janis Joplin, then I guess that's the closest you could ever get into this reality. Now this is a pretty neat spot. I already heard good things about it, but this just seals the deal about it. So, just going to be taking my time enjoying my meal, which is going to come a little bit later, because first I needed to get something on tap for myself here. And it's a classic. I probably highlighted it in some previous videos before. And just in case you don't remember, I'll put a link in the top right corner over here so you can click on it for future reference. So what I'm having here is something from Saint-Denis. If you know anything about them, chances are you would know about their terrace. It's over right by the Lachine Canal on the southwest side of Montreal. I haven't been personally, but everyone I know has said it's a great spot. You get a really lovely view of the water side, so it's definitely recommended in the summertime. As for my drink, I'm picking something I've had before and I haven't had on tap in ages. It's the New England IPA. You will probably recognize the can if you see it in store, because it kind of looks like a flaming hop, almost like it's a fireball from Super Mario Brothers. Kind of cheesy way to describe it, but it's definitely tasty.
As my mother would say, if you're happy, I'm happy.
That is awesome. And if you want to know what my first time drinking this was, it wasn't actually in store. It was over on tap when I was at McKibben's, like, yeah, 2020, before the pandemic really started to hit. So I knew McKibben's pretty well. Great Irish pub near my old university, and they had a lot of St. Denis there, but somehow or another they started to sell this one on tap. I had that for the first time, and then I was hooked for life. And I want to say it was like somewhere around that point on that I kind of really became hooked on the New England IPA. I'm sure I had some similar beers to that in the past. I wouldn't be able to tell you the New England IPA. I always thought it's an IPA, end of story. So now that I know a lot more, I can enjoy it. So overall, very satisfying indeed. Okay, so just in case you're wondering what I ordered, I decided to go for the burger over here. Something classic to take a break from what I was eating all week, which has mostly been like some Spanish ham, some fish, and other various things. Usually when I go to a new bar or a new restaurant, I always see what kind of burger they prepare. Well, that and the club sandwich, because the club sandwich is so classic that I'm always curious to see how new places prepare this. Even if their basic one, you know, lettuce, tomatoes, some mayo. I did notice it said like it's made with cheddar, made out of Guinness, of all things. I cannot tell you if it means that the burger has been made out of Guinness, or if they soak cheddar cheese in Guinness, or maybe Asian in Guinness. Either way, something with the beer batter in it is going to be awesome nonetheless. Plus it's cheddar. That is the moniker I use, right? I got to be the cheese factory for everybody. Yep, I'm still working on this pint here, and I'm probably going to take my time with this as well. Just enjoy the little atmosphere, enjoy the sights and sounds, and we'll see. Definitely a really nice spot, so I'm glad I came here. Well, okay. A la Senna, little bar over here that I went to like 2 years ago. It's like really close to the old port. Nice spot, some decent beers, good vibe, I suppose. Don't see too much activity going on, but what can you do? So yeah, moving on to other things. That burger and brew was really tasty and satisfying, but definitely filling. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be walking around a little bit to try to digest. And I think I'm going to look around a little bit more, see if I can get a little bit more highlights around here, share some more stories, shoot more shit, and we'll find out how we go. I'm now, well, I think you guessed by my previous comment, I'm now around the Old Port. Definitely a pretty lively place around here in years past. And if you've ever been here around night, it's also another one of those with a really cozy vibe, I have to say, too. Lots of small shops. You'll see sometimes there's these festivals of all these food trucks going on, because apparently you need food trucks around here. And there is one terrace that's also worth recommending if you're into sangria, which I'm going to get to very soon. I'm just going to take a look around first and foremost. Yeah, giant Ferris wheel, because we apparently needed a second one. It does get some popularity and movement, so I guess it's doing its job, maybe. Yeah, zip lines. Always been intrigued by seeing that thing, but if I have the courage to actually jump on that, well, fuck if I know. And away we go. So right behind me, that white building you see there is the clock tower of the old port. I've actually climbed that thing once in the past. You do have quite a number of stairs to go up. So you definitely get your day's workout worth just by going up that thing. And right behind there, well, I'm sure everyone knows the Jacques Cartier Bridge. That's right behind that too. I guess the thing that makes it notable now is it's all lit up. Put up to celebrate Montreal's 375th birthday, which is kind of an odd anniversary to celebrate. I'm pretty sure they're trying to compete with Canada's 150th, so let's go for the next best thing. 150 versus 375, because screw round numbers. And I'm not even going to get into the rant about it costing $40 million to light up, but that's another story. So, further south point about the old port is Terrasse Balsacourt, like right over here. Pretty nice garden area, outdoor area. Obviously, this place is closed around the winter time because how you can have an outdoor terrace when it's minus 30 and we're freezing our asses off. Now, I have been here before, and in terms of the brew, they have some okay stuff. Carlsberg, Kronenberg, 1664, both the blonde and the white. I don't remember if they have an IPA on tap, or an IPA available, but if you're going for a beer here, I would recommend, well, I would first caution you that you're going to be getting it in a bottle, not on tap. If you're coming here for any drinks, then you would probably go for a sangria or the cocktail. And I know, like, you're following my channel and you know that I'm a big microbrew and a beer guy. Well, that's the thing. This place, you wouldn't go here for beers. You would most likely go here to have like a pint of some pitcher of sangria, and to split it with some friends. Now they make some really good sangrias here, I have to say too. It's probably the reason that they have wine on tap. Yeah, I saw that the first time I was here and I was amazed, like, they don't have beer on tap, but they have wine on tap. And depending on which part of the country you're in, or certain bars even in the Montreal area, it's not out of the ordinary, but I'm thinking that they have the wine on the tap specifically to make the sangrias, because that's what you would mostly come here for, or for some of the other cocktails. I had some kind of a cherry iced drink here once, which is okay, but I was like a one and done. Because believe me, I'm sure that if you're to do that cherry iced cocktail, it's like a slush, but you're not going to taste the alcohol. I think, I'll go for like 3 more, which could become 5 more, and then you're going to be feeling it the next day. Decent Scotch selection though, but hey, what can you do? I don't think I'll be able to stand around in here because there's a lineup to get in, and I don't know what the vibe is like. I may not even, I don't know. Something tells me it's probably best not to do, because I don't want to stay around in line and maybe risk not getting a spot. But outside of all the drinking around here, one reason I like this spot is because if you're right by the boardwalk, it's one of the best places to get a nice waterside breeze. Because, yeah, it's very calming, very soothing, and I sometimes have the weight of the world on my shoulders, like maybe in the old days. I used to come here and then it would actually relieve a lot of stress for me. Yeah, something about being right by the water just relaxes me. Even to this day, it's a way to, I don't know, forget about the world, forget about the troubles, and just think, I guess get lost in myself. In the old days, this would have been the spot where Cirque du Soleil would have set up their tent for all their performances. But they're not doing anything right now, at least I don't think. gotta admit, without that, the area sure feels really empty. You have the tent like up front, stage area in the back for all the crew and the performers. Now it's just like empty dead space. Wow, crazy. And I guess eventually I should take off these shades because it is like getting close to 8 o'clock and we're at the point in the summer where the sun starts to set a little bit earlier. And I'm not Corey Hart, so I can't get away with wearing my sunglasses at night. Well, all good things must come to an end, everyone. Up there, it looks like it's Auberge du Vieux-Port. I've been there once, like first time I ever discovered a rooftop terrace. Nice spot, cozy. Part of me is feeling kind of tempted to go up there, despite maybe feeling like I want a break. Because I mean, I have no idea how much longer I'm going to get terrace weather. Out of all the times that a train had to pass along to that commute, it just had to be tonight, with all the crowds and delaying my walk. So I'm about to try to take a little bit of a walk away and just enjoy the sight and sounds of this evening. Again, I don't know the next time I'm going to be back around here. I haven't done a terrace in Montreal in so long. And I guess I'm just slowly taking my time looking around here, because I don't know the next time I'm going to be back again. Whether it's going to be my urge to come back into town for a pint or two, to come back and have a nice dinner out. I don't know. There's so many things that are up in the air right now that I can't really come to any solid conclusions right now. So, moving along to other stuff. I'm moving along onto St. Paul Street, but more on the west side. And yes, I'm on St. Paul West because I just passed Saint Laurent Street. A little bit of trivia for how Montreal works. Saint Laurent is like the dividing side between the east and the west. So if you have a street that's like St. Catherine, for example, if you're on the west side of Saint Laurent, it's St. Catherine West, and then if you're going to be on the east side, it's St. Catherine East. A little bit of trivia. This part of St. Paul doesn't really have too many restaurants, but they do seem to have plenty of art galleries around here for some reasons I don't really understand. Pretty neat, but still did not see that coming. And again, once it's nighttime, it does have a cute little vibe. Well, in my continued walk to extend my experience in Montreal while it's starting to turn into night, decided I want to go down McGill Street, more to the south from St. Paul, from Notre Dame. But I do have to highlight another spot that I discovered a while back, and I finally tried earlier this year for a lunch out, Boris Bistro. So, if you like very ambient terraces, and especially when it's well lit at night, this one is highly recommended. All you gotta do is look in the back of me, and this is how it looks. Yeah, super cozy around here. Sure, you could enjoy a nice supper, a couple of drinks, and voila. Wow. And I'll admit too, looking around here, seeing all the taped up buildings and closed bars, it's kind of depressing to see just how much has changed in the last year and a half since I came to Montreal regularly. It's unbelievable. Well, some restaurants are doing pretty well here. And yeah, a couple of cool spots still. Can't complain. Alright, just passed by Place Dieuville. And I had a really good reason to come here because I'm sure if you know any Montreal institutions, and you've probably heard of Gibby's. Gibby's is, well, the sign you see in the back of me. I had been there with my friends when years ago we were deciding that at the end of the year we were going to do like a fancy supper as a guys' night out. It was suggested this place, and I have to say, for the price you pay, it's definitely high quality stuff. Because one of my favorite meals that it turns out I liked here was the beef Wellington. Because there's no way that I'm going to be able to cook that on my own. It takes filet mignon, like a bechamel sauce, and it takes some phyllo dough around it. So the trick is to make sure that your meat is cooked well enough to your liking, because you could get away with medium rare with that cut. But also make sure your breading doesn't get burnt over here. And there's no way that I'm going to be able to do that, because it takes a bloody 5 hours to do. But the look of here is like a stone interior. The service is exquisite and very professional. Definitely worth going. And yeah, eventually I'm going to want to make a stop over here with the friends again for old time's sake. Just like a little go to hell kind of scenario. What are we telling them to go to hell? Well, let's just say all of the above, and you can fill out your own criteria. Speaking of being very calm around the water, Square Victoria. Nice little fountains around here, well lit up, super cozy. Cannot complain about that at all. Yeah. Feeling pretty easy going right now. If a little bit blue because my vacation is starting to end. Yeah, all good things must come to an end, and that applies in a lot more ways than one. But you know what? It is what it is. Gonna have to get back to the office eventually. It was a fun run while it lasted. Got to see a lot of people I haven't seen in a little while. Catch up. Got some renos done, including some shitty plumbing tackled once again, which always left my head scratching once more. And for the first time in a long time, took advantage of enjoying a Montreal summer. So I think I'm gonna just get myself one final coffee for the road to get myself alert, and then that'll be it. So everyone, thanks for watching this edition of the Wanayuki Cheese Cafe. So if you like what you see, yep, you just have to hit that subscribe button below, leave a comment, give this video a thumbs up just to show that you enjoy my content, and above all else, keep spreading the bad jokes everywhere. And yes, I'm checking the streets as I go. Ciao everyone, good night, and happy remainder of summer. Where's the nearest coffee shop around here?